I heard some of us are missing 2016 makeup, so let's do this look, which is inspired by my 2016 makeup. Sometimes I miss 2016 makeup, but I also really like how makeup looks in 2024 also. And when it comes down to it, I think what I really miss about 2016 makeup is the use of color. In 2016, I used to work at the KVD counter in London. Back then, it was called Kat Von D. My foundation was way too yellow. If you remember the Lock-It foundation, I used to use the shade, I think it was 53W, which when I look at swatches of that now, totally wrong for me. I kind of didn't have a choice because they didn't have really great neutral shades, so I went with the closest one I could get. Now I use a more neutral shade, and today I'm using the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation and the YSL All Hours Foundation. I really like mixing these two because the NARS one is really luminous and glowy. The YSL one gives the mixed longevity, and it also brings down the glowiness so that it's more of like a, I'd say like a satin finish. And the undertone of the YSL one is also just perfect for my skin. 2016, I didn't wear bronzer, but today I'm going to use the Rare Beauty stick in the shade Always Sunny. Actually, I did wear bronzer, but it was always like a powder bronzer, and it was honestly really shimmery. I used to wear the Too Faced one, I think, in the shade Chocolate Soleil. It had like gold little flecks in it. For concealer, I'm going to use the Hourglass Vanish Concealer in the shade Sepia. 2016, I used to use the Too Faced concealer, and honestly, it's way too thick for my skin now. The whole point with this is that I want to find a way to take elements of 2016 makeup and marry it with 2024 makeup, because there's elements of both of them that I really like, and I just want to see what I come up with. For blush, I'm using Rare Beauty in the shade Hope. In 2016, I honestly used to use blush. My favorite blush at the time was Copper Tone from MAC, and I still really love that blush. Just gonna add a bit of contour on the nose. In 2016, I used to go super heavy on contour, and I used to use the KVD Shade and Light contour palette. I used to use the gray shades, and I look back at pictures now, it was looking a little bit crazy. There's always going to be something that at the time you think it looks really good, and then 8 years later you look back at it and you wonder why no one said anything. I love a pink under eye and a bushy brow, but I do think those are going to be the next makeup trends that in a few years people are going to look back and think, why? I'm just going to keep doing them because I really like how it looks. To set my under eye, I'm using Peach Pie from Huda Beauty. And in 2016, I can't remember. No, I do remember. I used to use the Laura Mercier powder, and I used to bake like my life depended on it. I don't bake anymore. I just press the powder in and I leave it at that. By the way, this peach powder, I am so obsessed with it. I use the Charlotte Tilbury powder in the shade 2 to set the rest of my face. And lately I've been setting my face using a powder puff because I do have oily skin, and even though I love glowy skin when I do my skincare, when I do my makeup, I'm a matte girl. I do also press over my brows to take away shininess from the brow product. Don't think I mentioned it, but I did use the Anastasia Brow Freeze Gel in my brows. Patrick Ta bronzer in the shade She's Sculpted, and I'm just gonna add dimension all around the perimeter of my face using that. I don't want to put too much. It's just to add some depth back in. I honestly don't remember where I used to place my bronzer in 2016, but it was probably a mess. I found my actual blush from 2016, so I'm gonna go ahead and use this one. This one is Copper Tone from MAC. It is still one of my favorite blush shades, especially with the Peach Pie powder from Huda Beauty. I feel like it's so nice together. This is literally ancient, but it's in good condition. It doesn't stink, there's no mold, so I'm just gonna use it. One of the keys to 2016 makeup is using color on your eyes. I used to go in on the cut creases, on the glitter, on the floating liner, but I used to do it just for pictures because I used to feel that it just wasn't so flattering on me in real life. I used to take my pictures, post them on the other app, and then wash my makeup off. Today, I'm gonna bring some color back in using this Melt Cosmetics Gemini eyeshadow palette. This is one of my favorite from Melt Cosmetics, and their eyeshadows are so good. I'm gonna use some greens today. I'm gonna find a way to bring some color and use it in a more 2024 kind of way. I'm gonna take Fire OG on a fluffy blending brush. If you're not used to color, it's going to be intimidating. I don't think there's any way around that really. The key is to just have fun, and if you're new to using color, I think it's best to not stray too much from a placement that you're used to. So if you normally do your eyeshadow a certain way and you use a certain placement that you find is flattering, just do that, but with color instead. I'm just taking this green and blending it right into my crease. I'm trying to keep it pretty tight into this space here. I'm going to take this lighter green here on a different brush. This is also from Melt Cosmetics. It's their Christmas Town palette. I always tap off the excess, and I'm going to take this brush and just blend right above that color. If you keep the placement similar to something that you're already used to, it's going to feel much more wearable to you. I'm just going to keep blending that lighter color upwards. Going to take this darker green shade on a smaller blending brush, and I'm going to keep this just in the outer corner here. This is going to start to add dimension. This is what I find is super flattering for most people with hooded eyes. If you've watched my tutorials before, you'll see that I'm placing these colors in the exact same placement I normally do my eyeshadows. For my eyelid, I'm going to take this shade Magic Mush from the Melt Cosmetics Electrip palette. I love Melt Cosmetics shadows. Color payoff is always so good. Look at that shade, so nice. I just placed that on the part of the lid that doesn't have any eyeshadow on it. Something I used to do without fail every single time I did my makeup in 2016 was take a black eyeshadow on like a pencil brush, and I would just darken up the outer corner just a tiny bit, press that in, and that would just like be the finishing touch on the outer corner, and it would add such nice dimension. I don't know why I stopped doing that. My eyeliner was always a wing, and I'm gonna do that again today. I'm using the Rare Beauty liquid liner. I'm just gonna do a half wing. This is more my 2024 liner style. In 2016, I would wear giant lashes from AliExpress that would cover up all my eyeshadow. I'm gonna stick with a half lash so you can actually see what's on my eyes. Using Urban Decay Brow Blade to add in some brow hairs. Can't do a 2016 makeup without highlighter, and this one is also actually from 2016. This is MAC Show Gold. I'm gonna put it on with a fan brush because that was ultimate 2016. 90% of the time I used to wear a matte liquid lipstick, but I'm not gonna make myself suffer, so I'm gonna use NYX Cold Brew Lip Liner. This was my favorite KVD lipstick. It's in the shade Ophelia. They don't make it anymore. I'm gonna keep the lip matte because what could be more 2016? Makeup done. This is my 2024 version of my 2016 makeup. Let me know what trends you miss.